Hello again. This is Houndawg flying with you in another historical aircraft from the past 100 years of U.S. Navy carrier aviation. Today we are flying a vintage FSX model of the Bell P-59 Airacomet on board the USS Yorktown CD-10.
In April 1941, Major General Henry Hap Arnold of the United States Army Air Corps attended a demonstration of the United Kingdom's first jet aircraft, the Gloucester E-28/39. He recognized the critical importance of this new technology and immediately returned to begin the development of the United States jet aircraft program. On 4 September 1941, he offered the U.S. company General Electric a contract to produce an American version of the British-designed engine, which subsequently became the General Electric 1-A. On the following day, he approached Larry Bell, head of Bell Aircraft Corporation, to design and build the first jet engine fighter, the P-59 Airacomet, utilizing the new jet engine. Due to the limited thrust of the early jet engines, Bell's design used two 1,250-pound thrust General Electric Type 1A turbojets mounted on either side of the fuselage under the wing roots. In anticipation of the high-altitude capability of the jet engines, the Airacomet was also fitted with a pressurized cockpit with access through a side-hinged canopy. The fuselage was designed with two sections, the forward section with the weapons and cockpit, and the rear section with stressed skin semi-monocoque construction. All control surfaces were fabric covered and manually operated. The ailerons were pressure balanced with pressure seals, and the aircraft was fitted with aerodynamically balanced fabric covered flaps. A high tailplane was designed to avoid the hot turbojet exhaust. Armament included one 37mm cannon and three 50 caliber machine guns, all mounted in the nose. In addition, two 1,000-pound bombs or eight 60-pound rockets could be carried on underwing racks. The Airacomet's design was finalized on 9 January 1942 and construction began. In March, long before the three prototypes were completed, an order for 13 YP-59A pre-production aircraft was added to the contract. Secrecy was top priority for the new aircraft, and the Airacomet program was given the designation of P-59A program after a push-pull fighter design that was previously canceled. On 12 September 1942, the first prototype XP-59A was sent via train to Muroc Army Airfield, California, today's Edwards Air Force Base. While being handled on the ground, the aircraft was fitted with a dummy propeller to disguise its true nature. The aircraft first became airborne during a high-speed taxiing test on 1 October 1942 with Bell test pilot Robert Stanley at the controls. The first official flight was made the next day by Army Colonel Lawrence Craigie. A handful of the first Airacomets had open-air flight stations cutting to the nose for observers to monitor and record data for the special instrumentation installed in the test aircraft. Over the following months, tests on the three prototypes revealed a multitude of problems. First, the jet engines were too heavy in relation to the amount of power they could develop, and their exhaust was so hot that the turbine blades regularly overheated and often broke off with catastrophic results. The Airacomet suffered poor engine response time and mechanical reliability, which was a common shortcoming of early turbojets. The aircraft demonstrated insufficient lateral stability in the roll axis, and overall flight performance was far below expectations. The maximum speed was a disappointing 409 miles per hour with a service ceiling of 43,200 feet. While all test pilots were dissatisfied with the Airacomet's speed and initial acceleration, they were all equally amazed at how quiet and smooth the jet aircraft was. In spite of the aircraft's poor performance and significant problems, even before the June 1943 delivery of the 13 pre-production YP-59As, the Army ordered 80 final production machines. The XP-59A pre-production aircraft weighed 7,320 pounds empty and 12,562 pounds loaded. The length was 28 feet 2 inches with a wingspan of 45 feet 6 inches. 13 YP-59As had the more powerful General Electric J31 engine with 1,650 pounds of thrust. However, the improvement in performance was negligible, with top speed increased by only 5 miles per hour while requiring a shorter overhaul period for the engines. A single YP-59A was shipped to Britain in exchange for the first Gloucester Meteor, but the RAF test pilots found the Airacomet to be badly underpowered with an unacceptably long takeoff run. In December 1943, 2 of the pre-production Airacomets were delivered to the U.S. Navy as designated YF2L-1 aircraft for evaluation as Navy carrier fighters. The initial carrier suitability testing immediately identified the unsafe condition created at the slower landing approach speeds required at the carrier and the extremely slow engine response time when adding power. The pilot's visibility from the cockpit during landing was also very poor and considered unacceptable. In addition, the Airacomet suffered from the lack of adequate drag during landing approaches, resulting in the aircraft floating over the arresting cables when the power was cut. This lack of drag was compounded by the absence of dive brakes, which had been deliberately omitted because the Airacomet's anticipated mediocre performance. The lateral stability problems also resulted in severe directional shaking, which in turn rendered the aircraft a poor weapons and gun platform. As a result of all testing, the Navy deemed the Airacomet unsuited for safe carrier operations and continued the development of its own McDonnell FD-FH Phantom Carrier Fighter program. Bell eventually completed 50 production Airacomets, 20 P-59As and 30 P-59Bs. The P-59Bs were assigned to familiarize new Army pilots with the handling and performance characteristics of jet aircraft. By 1950, all examples of the Airacomet were no longer airworthy. Over time, disposal of the aircraft included use as static displays, instructional aids in military training, and use as static targets. It is also important to note that the P-59 had one other major impact on aviation history. Bell had performed some initial design work on a single-engine, low-mounted wing version of the Airacomet powered by the single General Electric J31 turbojet engine housed in the rear fuselage. However, they were so busy with other projects that in late 1942, the Army transferred the preliminary drawings of the single-engine Airacomet to Lockheed, where it would become the inspiration of the highly successful P-80 Shooting Star.